just to start with the good news. First of all, my family member, and I'm going to call him Star because he's such a star, is fully recovered and living life really with passion. So in fact, I think his health screening is better than average Singaporean as well. So it all started in 2019 when there was this pulsating, shooting pain, type that is down, which is a pain that is not quite the usual type. And really, pain is a friend to tell us something needs to be checked. So he went to see the GP, and after 1 week, that really doesn't help at all after all the painkillers, right? So he insisted that he takes an X-ray, even though the GP said, no, that's not needed, all right? But he insisted. And then really there was a huge tumor. So it just turned out to be a rare cancer. And because it's rare, which means also that there's less research investment for cure, it is super aggressive, which also means that you end up having traditional type of way of trying to cure it. Yet, you have to be highly intensive in terms of treatment, which is a lot tougher really for the patient. Okay, so know of someone. Really, I know of someone who whose family member actually has the same type of cancer, and he died. And when the doctor saw him, and he said that if they had actually seen him just 2 weeks earlier, could have saved him. So it is, that's why timing is everything. So in short, this really is a very challenging journey. So really today, what really in terms of sharing is what exactly did we do? And sharing with you all this is that because end of the day, there's so many people really facing it, right? And acceptance is really the number one thing that we did, because in developed society in Singapore, all right, actually the statistics is 1 in 3 actually develop cancer in our lifetime. And that's not counting even other illnesses. And that's really scary. It took me a while to really realize that's true, because this comes from Singapore Cancer Society. I also read medical journals as well. So the first thing is accepting it, right? That because it's common, just because we are good people doesn't mean that we'll get it. So that helps us to move forward, to think of what we need to do. And then, really, as Avatar, you remember the movie Avatar? It's like, just came into me, okay, just bring it on, okay? I just transform myself to a warrior. I know, because this is really a huge event, the biggest crisis that we ever had. And it's just very determined to get something positive out from this crisis. Because, really trying to turn the wound into wisdom. And so that becomes really the start of the journey and the objective that we'll be able to really get out of this. And so the action part, okay, is like, what do I do now to maximize the chance of recovery? That's really the guiding principle that we had. So everything becomes less important, right? What is it now? Which also means that not trying to plan too far ahead, because it is a very different journey. Anything can happen at any time. So trying to plan too far ahead makes it, not practical. It makes it really tiring, actually. Okay, so the survival instinct is just very strong, actually, when a family member is involved, right? In fact, we are so surprised how well we coped. It's having this faith in our ability to handle one step at a time, even if it means scary at times, right? We can still make something good of any hardship. So we decided that we'll learn from it and grow, and maybe even thrive because of it. So, so this is something that we really, thought about it. So one of the first actions when Star, really showed me the X-ray on a Friday night, 9:30 p.m. So of course it was like silence while we read the X-ray a few times. At 10 plus p.m., the thing is, what do I need to do right now? And so I called a friend who is a volunteer friend, a friend that I got to know through volunteering, and he's a medical professor. So he said, okay, let's meet tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. hiking. We actually do forest mindful hiking. And during that time, we just have a 5 minutes chat. We didn't need 5 minutes chat of what this is about. And before noon, he managed to identify his ex-student, who's an orthopedic surgeon, that would be the right person to go to. Right. And we were so lucky, this orthopedic surgeon is an amazing guy, excellent attitude, with a great sense of urgency. And he really go beyond the normal call of duty as a doctor. He really cares. So this become, I never expect rewards from charity work, but it really came to pay back big time. So this became, my first count of blessing. So, which is very important because throughout the journey, there will be very hard times. It's important to always count your blessings. Okay? And so, what did we do? First of all, is that decided in order to increase the chance, right, in terms of battling this, is knowledge. I thought knowledge is very important. Okay. First of all, is I do believe that whoever we chose in terms of the doctors, just have to trust the doctor. Of course, I mean the right in the beginning is to find a doctor that we think really understands this type of cancer, a doctor who is able to perform the type of surgery. All right. So really trust the doctor, and also in terms of asking, I really went out to ask. I know some people will, take this as very private within the family, and they may not want to talk about it, and that's fine. Really, it depends on individual, right? So for myself, I felt that knowledge will help me increase the chance of battling this. So I went out to talk to so many people. Really, it's literally talking to people who had battled cancer before, and caregivers as well. And of course, I ask a lot, when I see the doctors. And when I'm at the clinic, I look around to see brochures about cancer as well. And then one of my good friend, another volunteer friend, actually bought me this book. And this book itself, I showed here, is actually written by a medical, Parkway medical director. So the key thing is there's so much information out there, right, on the web. I only read those from medical sources, because otherwise, how do you know what is, which one is fake news, right? So I think that's very important, is the right type of knowledge. And I felt that because of all this interaction, I talked to so many people, I felt so humbled and, grateful that so many people had shared and helped me in this journey. So because of that, I decided to start sharing with others, and which is what I'm doing now, right? Because since I took so much time, I really talked to a lot of people, that I thought that someone else, besides my family, can actually benefit from this, and why not support also other people as well, right? So it was quite interesting that the surgeon actually caught me in the very early stage of the journey, to ask for my help to actually support his other patients who are in distress. So I said, oh yeah, why not? and of course, what we share may not work for everyone, because it really depends on the personality and circumstances of each person that is overcoming the type of illness. But my personal attitude to attending any learning is, as long as I can, there's one thing that's useful to me, in any talk or any course, it's something that I can implement. It's worth it. So I hope you can get something out of it, and that you're enjoying this shows, your positive attitude as well. So thank you for that. Okay, so that's it. In order to increase the chance, what do we need to do? So I did really find out, and these are really from the doctors, is that first of all, I know the first question I went with the oncologist is that, okay, diet, what do we need to, eat and not eat, right? And first of all, he said, you can eat anything. I said, what do you mean? They don't harp on the diet control because the journey is already so tough. There are many times that, you really have no appetite, right? So if the person wants to eat anything, let him eat. It took me a while to understand that. And throughout the journey, then I really, aha moments that, yeah, it's true. There are sometimes, you the whole day, the person cannot eat anything. And when the person says want to eat, then jump for joy, really, really. But one of the key things that he said is no sashimi, okay? Because it is very important to have properly cooked, fresh food due to the often weakened immune systems. So patients may not have the same capacity to fight off food poisoning or infections that can be caused by bacteria, right, or parasites. So that is important, okay? And also after each chemo course, you have to also hydrate a lot, to flush out really the drugs as well, because you just want it to pass through. So coconut water is effective, and also the sports drinks, 100 plus, less sugar, and also even Evian water as well. After each of the chemo. So these are things that we did, and of course, protein is very important. So some people will say that, oh, eat less meat, but not during the treatment period. Actually, we are told to increase the portion of protein. There are many types of protein, right? It's good to see that, but it's important to increase that. Because after surgery and chemo or radiotherapy, extra protein is needed to heal the tissues and fight the infection. So it's a good source of protein, like fish, meat, eggs, etc. Dairy, all these can be taken. All right. So eat well is important. What else can we help, physically? Is also looking at, I think preventing infection is the number one key, really, because as I mentioned, right, there are times when right after the chemo, there is a period where is the weakest time, because literally it whack out the cells. It really kill a lot of cells, right? So even the white blood count can go to all the way down, and in fact there are times can't even be measured. It's that low, which means that if a person develops infection during the time when there's such low blood count, literally, the body just cannot protect itself, and the infection can lead to death. All right, and which is meaning even a mild infection that a normal person can take care of, a person in that case may not be able to take care of himself. Okay, and so it's only a period, right? A period, then it will go up again. Then when it's well enough, then it goes to the next chemo course. And that's why the doctors, do need to check that the blood cell count go back up before they can continue to the next course. And that's really important. So which also means that sometimes there are a lot of visitors, but really we need to choose when that to take place during the time where it is most, where the blood count is actually the lowest. We were really strict. Absolutely no visitors at all. Okay. And the part about physical therapy or light exercise, it's important to just sometimes light walk, and it depends, right? Sometimes depending on the type of surgery required, may not even be able to walk, but at least some movements help the blood circulation, etc. So this is what doctors always ask, try to move around if you can. Then after what we help physically, then what do we need to do mentally? And that is really important because, the mental resilience, the mental strength is actually a very key part of the journey. A person who already decided to give up, it always, is more difficult to recover, right? I mean, we all know the power of the subconscious mind. And that's why, I'm such a great supporter of Brahm, right? Because it's talking about mindfulness. And she is doing such a great job on that. Okay. So as we know, emotions are contagious, right? It's just like, a table have 4 legs. The weakest leg, it was just out, the table will just collapse. So in a family itself, first of all, is to manage our own disturbing emotions. This is our own, not the patient, okay? Because it does, you must try, we're trying to give a peaceful environment to our family during this period. So this is what we did. And in fact, when there are people who want to visit, my instruction is just be happy when you come. If you plan to cry, just don't come. Yeah, so I was literally very open to anyone that wants to visit as well. Yeah, so, and of course having hope, right? That's important. And finding forgiveness as well. And this and showing love. I think all this, I don't think I need to explain a lot of this, but yeah, I happened to, just 6 weeks, coincidentally, a good friend of mine, Cindy, actually asked me to attend a 2 days talk on preparing for death and helping the dying. I mean, it's just so interesting. So this American, lady that come to town, and so these are the key learnings actually. These few points are key learnings from that 2-day seminar that I had, and it really helped me when this crisis struck. So really important in terms of doing mentally. So what's next in terms of helping the patient is support group. Okay, so really, asking my family members that, who are your closest friends that you can really talk through this and can help you with this journey. Really encourage them to connect. And very often it's probably close friends, and of course some very close families as well. And whether counseling is needed. So in my family's case is that the oncologist area, meaning the oncologists, I literally asked whether they are counselors as well, and say they are, and in fact it's offered free of charge. And even though I know that Star is doing well, but sometimes we're just worried whether he is just hiding and trying not to try to control his emotions, but deep down he's actually struggling. That's what I was afraid of. So that's why I asked that still have a session with a counselor and let the counselor assess. And this counseling would be one-on-one. So none of us are there, so we can be really very authentic in terms of the discussion. So the counselor came out and said, it's good. So I said, oh, okay, that's great then. And then what other things is art therapy, right? I mean, so the art therapy, like these pictures. By the way, all the pictures I have are really from my home. So sometimes you find that the pictures a bit singing. It's because of how I took the pictures. So Star during the period, it is. I feel so happy when there is delivery, which means that he has been active looking for things to buy for art. So I must say, it's so great that there was no compulsive or impulsive buying. It's all, little things that he could, do for art. So like this one is actually nails. He used piece of wood, nails, and thread. And it's very intricate. It need a lot of concentration to come to this, right? There's different shades of green as well. And I think art is a fantastic way it brings calmness and happiness, and also mind. It takes the mind off. And I must say, Brahm Center has a lot of good stuff on art. I myself has just done the Zentangle art from Brahm, and it's so meditative type of drawing. And people like me who have no talents can still do a good job. So do check out all the different type of courses Brahm has. So and also why I put self-caregivers. What does that mean? Is I felt that it's important for the patient to know that as caregiver, I'm actually making time for self-care. Let me give you an example. Is that is it if I'm burnt out myself, right, as a caregiver, how will it help him? Would I end up making him feeling bad, feeling guilty, and that he might just be, trying not to disturb us and not tell us, be very open of what's happening, right? And so I give you this example of this lady, because her daughter was going through a similar type of cancer treatment, and they were like on off for like 5 years. It's that difficult to treat, right? So the lady was complaining big time, and that is in the presence of daughter, although how tired she is, and she's complaining big time. So you could see it doesn't help the daughter to feel good, right? So when there's a chance, when the daughter was not there, I literally pulled her aside to explain, what implication it is, and she was so grateful. And she really changed her approach. So I think that's important. It's just like, the I don't know whether you watched the movie that in Netflix, K-drama number 39, the age of, three good friends of age 39, and one of them has terminal renal cancer stage 4. And the people just, the friends just, have a mission to make her the happiest terminally ill person. So I thought that is really amazing to have, the thought of, just not about coping and getting well, but it's also making the journey more comfortable. And when the journey is more comfortable, the spirits are lifted out, it's just increased the chance, right? It's just increased the chance of a cure. And really also for self-care now in terms of as a caregiver. First of all, as a caregiver, again, acceptance, right? And also know that this is a long journey. Anything can happen. So it's also accepting that there are events I cannot control. So don't beat up myself in that, right? And I know some people feel guilty having fun when their family members are ill. And it depends on every family. Okay, for my case, I chose not to. So I continue to have meaningful fun. I go for, walks with friends. In fact, one of my good friends during the journey invited me to join, she and her friends for walks every Thursday, the beach walk at night. And since then, right, since that's 2019 until now, I continue to do that. So every Thursday, and I go for Saturday hikings, and of course, and even initiate some social gathering. And of course, caring for my family member is still the number one priority. But there are pockets of time, right, that I can just go out there to just have a good time myself. So I'm thankful really for the moments and also that work well. Because as I said, the journey is difficult, right? In fact, celebrate these moments. It can be done quietly, like every chemo itself. There are people who because of chemo, infection, etc., they can't even go to the next chemo. All right. So it's like celebrating when each chemo is successful. And that's a milestone in its own. And also really, don't have to, don't rather wait for people to thank me. I just thank myself when I think I'm doing a good job. And when's the last time you hug yourself? I literally hug myself. Good job. Yeah, doing all this. I think that's important. I mean, I think sometimes we are so hard on ourselves that we forget to thank ourselves and forget to laugh over it. And I know, I know that's really important, because to continue to be very positive. So I myself actually, go will like listen to, like, say, TED Talks, for example. There, and also Brahm Center has so many talks, right? Really good with subject matter experts, and also even positive quotes, right, that I follow. And so these are things that really keep me positive. So every day I will read something that is positive. So it becomes a habit. And like this thing about love well, laugh often, love much. That is one of my little painting over there as well. I have all these things that surround me. So I think that's important because I just felt that it helps me. Okay. And it's like the positive quotes. One that I actually subscribe to is Thich Nhat Hanh Gems. Okay. And you may know Thich Nhat Hanh is actually very famous. Even President Obama mentioned him. Google invited him to train their staff. And he is also nominated for Nobel Peace Prize by Dr. Martin Luther King. That was, which means it's very long ago. And he teaches really mindfulness as well, and is very circular in his approach. So his quotes are really good. Like, for example, this quote itself is that, I think it's to smile. And I mean, I am sharing this with you because it just do this experiment. Just smile now. Just smile. For no reason. Just smile. And you realize that when you do that, it just activates your system. It activates a system that it just feel happier. And so that's something I've been doing for a long time, and it becomes a habit. And so sometimes I don't really have a reason why I'm smiling, but I'm smiling. So I just don't wait to be happy to smile. So I smile in order to be happy. So, the other way around. So, and also again, for self-care for caregivers. So finding social support. So I myself went to find like 2 group of my closest friends that are my social support. And of course, my own family as well, right? My sister, etc. So all these are my social support groups. And I always keep finding the silver linings, right? Because I felt blessed, really throughout the full journey, really families, close friends, my managers, colleagues, volunteer friends. I'm not afraid to reach out. When I need to reach out, and there are times when it's really difficult. Okay, there are really times. So I don't wait for people to come to me. I will go out to talk to somebody when I really need that. So and I felt that I don't have to fight this alone. I want to be really strong to do this, but I don't have to do it alone. Okay, it's absolutely fine. There are times that I feel vulnerable. I totally accept that, but I make it a habit not to dwell in that for long. It means I feel it. Okay, I notice I feel it. All right, then I get out of it. Okay. So of course, there's a lot of silver linings, right? I mean, some family and friends become closer. The family that we have now becomes closer. A lot of things that we used to think, we are so bothered by that. You're so stressed by that. Now, in comparison, hey, these things are really nothing. It's just like, so stressed at work, right? And my job too. But when you compare this, hey, actually this is, these are nothing. it's just like I found so many silver linings of COVID, so that I don't feel depressed. Okay. And just now I mentioned, like, in terms of this, and this is something that I was practicing to some extent, but it was at a Brahm Center retreat, one of my first retreat that the psychologist actually shared this slide, which I thought, wow, that's really good. I like that because really it's so relevant to all of us. Is that what's my window of tolerance? Everyone has a window of tolerance, okay, which is like, at this moment, I'm good. I'm in the good zone. And I keep checking myself all the time throughout the journey. As I said, there are times that are really difficult. It's like, okay, what am I feeling now? Okay. Oh, I'm feeling like, whoa, the hyper arousal, the anger, the anxiety. Is that, whoa, that's I'm feeling now. Okay, no. Okay, let's be, grounded, breathe. Let's come back to my window of tolerance. Or there are people who are at hyperarousal part where they really can't deal anymore. It's that, people reach out and they say, no, just don't bother me. I don't want to talk to anyone, that kind of stuff. Those are, I would say, even worse in that sense, is that, you would be like in denial part. But the thing is, if a person keeps checking, itself, am I feeling that now? Oh yeah, I am. Okay, let's go back to window of tolerance. So and the thing about such kind of crisis is that it enlarges the window of tolerance. I become that, wow, I come actually after all this, my tolerance is really good now. Of course, there are still things that stress me out. That's for sure, right? I mean, I'm still human. But the thing is, it probably won't stress me for long. Is that, okay, I realize, okay, I think I'm stressed now. Let's think about how to move myself out from the stress zone. So, and because of that, it becomes something that I can practice in my daily life. Okay, and it just improves, really in terms of family relationships. So one of the things is that, talk about gratitude, right? Gratitude is something that I felt that most of us got wrong. And I had this aha moment when I saw this slide. It took me quite a while to really understand it in depth. Is that actually it is not happiness that brings us gratitude. It is actually gratitude that brings us happiness. It's that, wow, it's just like what I said, you don't wait to be happy to smile. You smile first, and then you suddenly realize, you become happier. So it's the same thing. So I think, like what Brahm Center taught, as part of the mindfulness practice, is a 10-finger gratitude. So literally, I always count my blessing to ensure that I continue to do this. Yeah. And also just being grateful. And that's something that I want to share. Be grateful, but don't expect gratitude. No, it's like, okay, I'm very grateful myself, that I'm happier. But then, because I take care of, so many people, I help so many people, then if I expect gratitude, then that's a different thing, because not everyone, will express their gratitude, right? So again, this is an aha moment for me, because there was one period, right, that I felt very frustrated. I felt that I did a lot. I'm not getting the appreciation, and it's not just during this, cancer journey. It's a part of life itself, right? Then it was actually a good friend's husband. As I said, there are times when I was like, I felt not good about things. I actually go out to try to learn from somebody, because I always feel that there's so many people who know so many things more than I am. There's always something I can learn from someone. So I actually shared, my frustration. And my friend's husband said something really good. Don't expect appreciation. It took me a while to understand that actually the frustration I had was not because I was not getting appreciation, but because I was expecting appreciation. So after that, okay, got it now. And now I feel so peaceful. In fact, when I'm not expecting it, I realize, hey, actually, it's absolutely fine. Okay. So, it goes back to that really. Happiness comes from within. So this is quoted from the Book of Joy, the documentary. I happened to see that just a few months ago. And in fact, it was Harvard that sponsored the free online documentary viewing. And frankly, I didn't think it is really possible till I faced this crisis, frankly speaking. I found that the mindfulness practice really helped me to be happier despite the crisis. Okay, so, I have friends who say that, how come you still so cheerful throughout the period? Yeah, because I chose to be cheerful. I mean, it was a choice, right? That it really come within me. And because of that, I am really, truly happy during the period. And I actually felt blessed. There are times I was stressed, but I still felt so blessed. Okay, so the way, like what Thich Nhat Hanh mentioned, the way out is in here. As if he has something, and there's this thing he said that the way out is in, to go back to oneself and to take care of oneself. Learning how to generate a feeling of joy and happiness, learning how to handle a painful feeling, a painful emotion, listening to the suffering allows understanding and compassion to be born, and we suffer less. So let me give you this